1, 2, 3, 4.
Rev up your engine! Today, as usual, I'm going to show you the unbridled truth about cars. In this case, it's a 2020 Toyota Supra. Now, this car is a classic roadster. It has a big engine in the front, in this case, a 6-cylinder with a turbocharger in it. It has the classic 2 seats. It's a 2-seater. It's a roadster. And classic roadster, it is rear-wheel drive. Now here, let's let the cat out of the bag. Even though it says Toyota Supra on it, as we open the door, we can see on the sticker, what does it say? Manufactured by Bayerisch Motor and Werke AG. So in reality, this is made by BMW, but not just BMW. Technically, these cars aren't even made in Germany. They are made in Austria by the Magna Steyr company. Now, Steyr used to have a deal with Daimler, then a Canadian company, Magna, bought them out. Magna Steyr is the company that makes very high-end luxury cars. They also make the G-Wagon, the Mercedes Geladenwagen. So in reality, this Toyota Supra is a Canadian, Austrian, BMW Toyota. It's a high-end European roadster. If you're looking for a roadster, hey, this might be the roadster for you. Now you might very well wonder, why is Toyota selling BMW roadsters and calling them Toyota? As far as I can comprehend myself, and it certainly is logical, if they wanted to design from scratch a rear wheel, high horsepower roadster that would cost millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to do it correctly. And for cars that don't sell that much volume, like a fancy roadster, that's not a wise economic decision. So instead, they've allowed BMW to make the entire car, and then they do have a roadster, albeit a BMW roadster. Since roadsters don't sell mass production, it makes no sense to put all their money in development to a car you're not going to sell that many. Give you a comparison. Last year, Toyota sold about 337,000 Camrys. Last year, Toyota sold 2,884 of these Supras. Just look at the volume. They're making money on the Camrys. You're only selling a few thousand of these roadsters. It would make no sense to put all that money into research, development, designing, perfecting it, when there already is a roadster out there. Now, this 2020 Supra is not exactly the same as the BMW Z4 Roadster. They're both made by BMW in the same factory. It has 335 horsepower. The BMW Z4 the same year has 382 horsepower. And you might well ask, why the horsepower difference? They have the same engine, BMW straight 6. They have the same transmission, a ZF 8-speed. It's also made in Austria. Why does this have less horsepower than the BMW? Well, here's why. If you look down here on the Supra, it has 1 supercharger, while the BMW Z4 has 2 superchargers. Hence, it has more horsepower. Now, that got me to wondering, why is Toyota selling the same basic vehicle with 1 turbocharger when the BMW has 2 turbochargers? Well, to me, that also makes sense from Toyota's perspective. 2 turbochargers cost more to maintain, cost a whole bunch more to replace. I've been a mechanic for 52 years. Last year, I had to change 2 of the turbochargers. On a BMW 6, the bill was over $12,000. If you have 1, easier to maintain, less expensive repairs. Look, this Supra has well over 300 horsepower. I drove it hard. It is a very fast car. Some people even said it's got too much power. They'd rather buy the 4-cylinder one. So it's not like it's losing power, but Toyota, which has been a company that always easy to maintain, reliable vehicles, don't need very many repairs, and when they do, they aren't generally all that expensive. To me, that follows more along the line of Toyota's philosophy. BMW is an elite European car manufacturer. You better expect very expensive maintenance and super expensive repairs when they break down. So in that respect, realize if you buy this Supra, you're not buying a Toyota, you're buying a BMW. You're buying the speed, the handling, the technology, an extremely efficient yet smooth ZF 8-speed transmission. But you're also buying a BMW with very high maintenance and very high repairs when they wear out. That's just the way elite European cars are, especially in the United States. Look at my wife's Lexus. That thing is 18 years old, still rides like a dream. runs like a dream. I've owned it for 7 years. I put less than $400 in parts in it. Basically, brake pads when they wear out, and I change the fluids a lot. That's it. You cannot do that with a BMW. They are expensive to maintain, and they are very expensive to repair. When parts break, they're uber expensive parts. This car doesn't have Toyota parts on it, it's got BMW parts. You have to realize that if you want to get this car. If you buy it fully loaded like this, $17,000 cheaper than the fully loaded BMW version. Now, I guess BMW and Toyota made a deal. All of the BMWs are convertibles. So you're getting a convertible with a BMW, you get the hard top with this. This is a classic hard top roadster. It has 2 seats, 1, 2. This is not a family car. It's made for people who like roadsters, a serious driving car. In that respect, I drove it hard and handles great at high speeds. Tons of acceleration, but it's a roadster. If you or your loved one is relatively short, the seat's not made for you. My wife sat here, she kept hitting her head on the plastic part here. Didn't reach the headrest. This is not a car designed for smaller people. Me, I love driving it. The headrest fits my head perfect. Put it in sport mode. Turn off the traction control. It does warn you that the traction control is off. But in case you get too carried away, it's got a heads-up display. Check it out. It says we're going 0 because we're going 0. But next to it is the speed limit sign. In this case, it says it's 35. That's the speed limit here. And if you go over, it will flash and tell you you're going too fast. I tried that thing out when I took a trip to the beach on highway. It worked great. Speed limit was 65. All of a sudden there was construction. The sign said 55. As soon as I got past that sign, it went from 65 speed limit sign on the car to 55 and flashed warning me. Now, if you are a fast driver, don't be worried that the stupid thing's going to be flashing at you forever. It flashes for a few seconds and then it stops flashing. It'll stay up there and you'll see the speed limit's 55 if you're going 65, but it won't be flashing the whole time and be annoying. They thought about that too. Now, all the modes in this new car work fine. Now, we have it in regular mode. We don't have it in sport. You can see here. Now, listen to the engine. Okay, now we're going to turn it on sport mode. You can see it says sport mode there now. Now listen to the engine. Now it sounds like a Ferrari. And then if people don't like that noise, you can just turn the sport off and then stops doing it. Doesn't have as much power, but it's quieter. It does have this 8-speed ZF transmission. I personally find the electronics on these things annoying. Trying to get it in and out of park, you got to get used to it. It's kind of squirrely. But on a positive side, it really shifts well. Those 8 speeds, they are seamless. The more gears you have, of course, the closer the ratios are, the less differential when it goes from one gear to the other. This thing is smooth on a highway. You want to floor it, it'll shift down gears so you get tons of acceleration. And that ZF 8-speed transmission, man, there's a lot of them out there. In 2017, ZF sold 3.5 million of these 8-speed transmissions. Used in a lot of applications. They're engineering marvels. Of course, they're also engineering nightmares when you finally have to rebuild them when they wear out. Whew, you're talking about gigantic money. And again, you're buying a European roadster here. You're gonna save a lot of money buying one of these versus buying a BMW roadster. And if you absolutely positively gotta have the 380 plus horsepower, wait for the 2021 models. The Supras are gonna have those engines in them then too. But this thing has no lack of horsepower as it stands. Do you want the ultimate one? Hey, wait till 2021. I'm sure the price will go up somewhat too, because then you gotta pay for the 2 turbochargers instead of 1. So let's close the door and take it for a ride. We'll put it in sport mode too. There we go, sport. Let's stop on the gas. This thing has power. It also handles like a dream. Now, it's a roadster. You're gonna feel the bumps. That's how roadsters are. If you complain that, oh, I feel and hear the road, and you buy this car, that's as bad as someone who buys a motorcycle and then complains that, well, it only has 2 wheels and it has a tendency of falling over if you don't watch it. Now you can drive this car as slow as you want, have the traction control on, no problems whatsoever. Do you want to drive it seriously? Turn off the traction control? This is a driver's car. Now if you really want to go fast, this does have some safety involved. The top speed is 155 miles an hour, which is electronically limited. The car could go a lot faster if they wanted to, but they have electronically limited here in the United States to 155 miles an hour. And let's face it while we check it out. It's a sharp looking car. Hey, this thing turned heads when I drove it on the beach. It is a good looking car. And sure, it's got a small trunk. Now, I was able to, by going at angles, get a couple beach chairs and a cooler in here. And if you look at the hole that goes into the front, it's got enough room for a beach umbrella, or more importantly for some people, a set of golf clubs fits in there too. So now you know the whole truth about the Toyota Supra. If you're looking for a classic two-seat roadster. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.